I make you nervous. So I'm just trying to get mic levels for everybody to understand. So that mic will be up on that sling or a little bit farther over. This one will probably be up here. I just gotta run them because it's a chain. So I thought it was gonna be like multi-port, but it's unfortunately a chain. So that's even better if they're in the ceiling. So and it just unhooks from the back. We gotta figure out, as you can see, it does multi-view. When people are speaking, it shows them speaking. I also have closed captions on as well. Closed captioning so that you can help with notes.
Sensitive will pick up even a whisper, so.
Who can,
So we'll hear Dawn.
Yeah. No, but you know how sometimes, people, just because I would too, like to remind
can see.
this, they can.
so he does closed captioning for people hard of hearing?
Is that also a transcript?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, good.
That's what I was
It's
trying
in
to tell
there.
you. That's what I
Okay.
was trying to tell you.
Sometimes things get so
Yeah, I know.
confusing.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
fine. So
I'll talk
it
to you
comes out
Monday.
as a separate file, and that way you can
Doing
upload it to
the
YouTube and stuff.
Would it pick up different voices?
I'm gonna say
or is it
WR
always just like
24.
one? It's not going
It's
to identify.
you.
WR 25,
So
2405A,
you can get
and
that
I'll
identified,
entertain a motion.
but you have to have like your badge. It would be a badge that
And then I'll
detects your
say all in
badge.
favor, say
So when
aye.
it sees a certain color or a certain.
And then we'll move on to public session.
So I just
Anybody has
would
that
want it
they
so
want
that
to say
way
in
like
public session, we
Karen
cannot
talk,
confuse
Lucy talk.
You have to
public
assign seats at
session
that point.
with
But there's like
Old
Microsoft just
business.
does speaker one, speaker two,
Yeah,
speaker
but that's
three.
individual.
old business with board
It's not-
members,
it's a
in
meeting.
case we want to discuss.
No, I know, but I'm just saying for minutes,
Oh.
not even
Same
doing
kind
that,
of
like
new
if we did like the
business as
laptop
well,
setup
but any
here
new
on the
business we
side,
Gotcha.
just for
Like to
9 minutes.
discuss, it has to
That's
be
really
discussed
what we're
next
looking
meeting.
for. I need the easiest way, but I'll take that recording.
Yeah,
That
most
transcript.
definitely. Yeah.
That'll
And
show me how to
the
like.
state
I just
primary
sent you
warrant that we're
the-
going to
it's done.
approve of, that's the
I'll-
whole election,
In
whenever the
October.
next, yeah, that election. And then I have to have the constable come up and sign it, then the constable has to post it. So that usually takes
You
a
think
few
he,
minutes.
you call them while you.
Yeah.
We usually do.
I
four
texted
copies,
him.
3 copies at least.
Because he had texted me, said, I'm gonna be late. That's like, that's.
No, no, I don't care. I didn't know if you wanted to join remotely. I'm trying to make it easy.
No, I know, but I don't
This
want
I
to be.
understand that.
Oh, excellent.
You know what I mean?
Gonna be here.
Oh, good.
And maybe
Mad.
Oh, gotcha.
No, you know, like
She won't
insensitive.
be like
No,
that.
she wouldn't, but I.
Conversation with Dennis.
Okay, because we have it in our packets
right.
anyway.
I had a question about that
Going to be my
one.
wife joined comment was automatically on with
And
her.
it says possible vote to sign, because Don's not here to sign it. We might not want to sign it. We might want to wait until.
Yep.
He's,
Because he said he's going to be a little late possibly. So
Oh.
if, I know either the interim superintendent's attendant or Cheryl
Cheryl,
Duval, one of them too. You guys can skip over it and just say, we'd rather have a full board here, as
I would
John was
rather have 3
involved,
names
you're
than
new.
2.
I'm not even here.
Property update, at
I'm
their
just here
road acceptance
Working this right
update.
now.
I don't know that they.
Microphone set up,
I didn't have anything on.
make sure it sounds.
On the.
Oh, is the door unlocked? No, it was locked. It was unlocked,
property
right?
update,
Yeah.
They're coming in this way.
Yeah, it's in your
It
packet.
might be because wasn't on the distribution email.
Oh, okay.
Did Duffy send that?
Does he send this to us?
That's just email that I had, so that way in discussion, you guys can see.
Would I?
But he doesn't have a copy of it.
Oh, I
He
put it in your packet. Yeah, you don't have it in the information I just
The
gave
one
you?
that you, oh, this.
Yeah, that's your packet. That's your packet, sorry.
Email that I-
Yeah, but okay, but
There's more.
no, it's the same stuff. I usually I wanted to email it just so you can read it, but I then print it and I put it in the same order as the agenda for you guys to
Okay.
kind of go through. So you'll have that conversation. So I just printed out conversation. I think you were in it from Board of Health and just for the update on the, hello. No, I know.
What do you want to do with the policy remote access?
That was Dawn. So
Are we supposed to read it out loud to everybody, or
I don't know.
read it and then say we'll take it up at another?
Yeah, maybe just in case anyone had any changes or suggestions. I don't know if it was necessarily a vote tonight, but I just put it on
Because I did have.
asked. Yeah, so I don't think maybe it can then be voted at the next one. Or whenever.
Yeah, because if you want to make any changes, this would be the night to make the
Right,
changes,
right.
then the next meeting, we can say, okay, with the changes, and go from there.
Did you guys move?
And then ARPA, Green Hollow is not coming.
Okay.
Don't worry,
I can tell
I don't- I
them
can-
about it, but they're not. And
Said we're hiding.
business,
Oh, you're so funny.
Hang out then. Obviously, you want your time on YouTube, right? It's gonna be up. There you go.
Printed them out, so these could be on the agenda for next week, for
Oh,
future
yeah.
meeting.
I think that's Tim.
usually if I have something for the agenda, I go to Don. He's
Your
chairman.
phone was ringing.
And chairman has, that's the rule of the chairman is to do the budget, or to do the
Yeah.
things, but it's all right for us to say, I
Yeah.
would like to see this
Yep,
done.
yep, that's all it is, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Jersey Mike verifying your order.
Yes.
She Dan DeVito sitting here. No, I should have ever said that commercial. I can't even get through one of those sandwiches. It's like too much. They are good.
And I'm not sitting over there because my kids say you can see my bald spot from space.
From the divine spot.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, hi, Cheryl.
Now, would somebody have to be there setting it all up?
That's when I have, so the problem, I was gonna give this during public update, but I can wait to give it or tell you now because,
No, you're great.
yeah. Just let me know.
Thanks for coming, Denise.
It's 6 o'clock.
2 minutes.
I was a whisper. I don't hear you.
Yeah, but it didn't show up there.
Oh.
It said no minute.
Wanted to see how softly I could.
Oh,
do it,
see?
and it doesn't show up.
I just whispered.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
quietly, And it, no, I recorded it.
Yeah, it did.
Have to be like the catcher in the pitcher in a baseball.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a microphone next time up over here, right?
Yeah, it's gonna go up
It's gonna hang right above you.
up there, yeah. Okay,
Whatever.
that's fine.
Whenever it's appropriate.
Saved you a seat right there, Tom.
I'll go right after.
Okay, yeah. That's fine.
That can be your
Yeah,
first space.
okay. You can say we would like to. Okay, good.
It's always
Okay.
leaving your voice.
I didn't know if it was okay to include you.
Oh, yeah, oh,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, everything that's.
I get your words too. It's gonna do closed caption.
Witnesses.
Gonna make the OCAM highlight reel.
Thank you very much. It being 6 o'clock, I'm going to declare the meeting open. And at this time, we would like to congratulate Aaron on his election to the OCAM Board of Selectmen and welcome him to his first night on board with us. I will entertain a motion to approve the warrants WR 2406 and WR 2405A.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There are no minutes to be approved. We are in public session. Does anyone have something that they would like to say in public session? This is your chance.
Did you want Steve to go first? He had his hand up too.
Yeah, so status update. As you can see tonight, there's wires, yes. I haven't hung the cables to the ceiling yet because I need to get proper miking. So again, I said that earlier to folks who were here. Second update, so I've activated the Zoom account, as you can see. I'm trying to figure out a good placement for this. If you guys want to discuss that later, you're more than welcome to. I was thinking like right here in the middle so that I can get, somebody sitting here at the edge. That way you can get everybody here. We move just a tad over. The mic will probably be putting parallel to the clock here and then one over here. Still working with CM Geeks. The problem right now is that I cannot, so right now in all the town Outlook, we have a Zoom button, but that's not what we need because it's not a Zoom meeting, it's a Zoom room. So if you're familiar with Outlook calendars, you can create an invite, put the people you want there, and you can assign a location. Location's called Zoom room. It doesn't show up and you can't figure it out. If you can't figure it out by tomorrow, I'm going to ask them to go on a we're using Zoom, a WebEx with me, so I can look at the Exchange email center. Since, I don't think it's required for me to have admin access to a government email for that. It's not that I don't have, I'm already background with the IRS, but point being is they're your vendor. I want to work with them and help them. I don't want to do it for them. So I'm hoping to have that done by this week, if he can figure it out, unless he has to open a ticket with Microsoft, I'm not sure. At which point, then I can start creating instructions of, certain things. But a couple of things you need to understand is that, do you want, the board needs to start making rules about certain settings that are in the back end that I've set up. Do you want simulcast on YouTube? Do you want it posted post-production on YouTube? I've already set up some configurations, which I will print out for the board to approve. So currently, when someone joins a meeting, they are muted. There's no audio that comes up. They can only chat with this box right here. And they can raise their hand. That's it. When they raise their hand, you can go into participants. And again, these instructions will be written up. I'm just giving you a 10,000-foot overview of security protocol. They can raise their hand. You can, when it's public session, they can talk, or the administrator can at least, if they're not writing note, if this is good enough to take a note, she can do this and then dictate later. Talk with them. What is your ask? Blah, blah, blah. And say, oh, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so have a question. Would you like to hear them? You can unmute yourself now because you'll allow them to unmute. I'll give you those instructions. So these are security protocols that you need to set in place. Policies and procedures. That's not for me to decide or anybody else. It's for you guys to decide. So we just need to figure out that protocol so that I can get all these settings in there. Because once it's a one and done. That's it. We're done, right? We set it up. It's boom, done. You can have remote access too. So if she's sick, if you need somebody like me to step, hey, can you help us with the meeting or troubleshoot something? I can log into the account for right now because it's under me. When I'm done with this exercise, we can transition to a service account, right? That is stored with you guys, that you can control this. But I also created a sync account through Logitech for firmware management and room devices management. Because since we have this one and the other one that we'll be setting up next after this whole process is done.
Okay.
So again, policies and procedures need to be set. You need to really start thinking about those. How do you want people to interact? How do you want them to join? Like right now, nobody can join unless I approve them to be in a waiting room. I said, yep, you can join. You can join because remember during COVID, right? So for my security protocols and understandings, Zoom bombing, right? So if you have a persistent link, it will get out there, right? And once you kick somebody, they can't come back either. So for this meeting until the next one.
Oh, okay.
These meetings get archived anyway,
Yeah, they're going to be recorded and go on YouTube. That's eventually the plan.
so it's a permanent thing where you can go in and
Yeah.
request a certain weeks.
You don't request anything. It's there
It's out there.
24/7.
Just go through a menu and
Yeah, just a
by
hit
week,
list.
a month. Or
It's like in Barry. If you go to Barry's web YouTube page, you can watch everything. Finance Committee, Board of Selectmen. I watch it. I want to see what they're voting on.
Okay, so the records are forever, or does it
Yes.
actually get?
No, YouTube wants it. Add money. They want all that stuff, clicks and everything else. Eventually, if we have enough subscribers, we can make a little scratch on the back end. But thanks to Chief Hal, he had explained to me how he fire department for the state and getting it as a local government type of thing. So there's a process to do that, and I'll start that as soon as this is ready to go. So those are my updates. Still work in progress. I've been coming in here this past weekend. I was on 2 meetings for over 15 hours with the IRS, updating their contact center so everybody could still do taxes. But unfortunately, they were FEMA enabled at the time. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else for a public
I
session?
have a question.
You have a question?
If the Board of Health, for example, has a meeting and no one is in the building, can they use the Zoom room?
No, so the way our licensing works, somebody has to be here, right? Because there is a control center in the back. You could launch this thing from the back end and then join. But we only have so many licenses. Now, it's up to you guys if you want to do a shared login for people to do that. Again, that's a security violation in my book. Specifically, again, in FedRAMP, definitely, which is federal government, but state government's different. But even through the state government's tech, you'll start getting emails about taking these tests and everything else in compliance. That they're really clear on sharing user accounts.
So you can't use one of these 2 room accounts outside the building.
You can, but it's synced to one like we'd have to get more licenses to allow just people to log into the room account. I can look into it more and see if I can do single sign-on where it replicates us, but I don't know if it's going to take a seat in licensing for that to happen. So I'll investigate it.
I think it's important that there be an option for fully remote, since the state allows it.
No, no, of course.
Oh.
I didn't say that it couldn't be done.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure in this tier
Sure.
if we can do it. It's not that it can't be done,
Yeah.
just how much money you want to pay.
Sure.
So, and how many, and if it is a question of cost, how many licenses you want? And then I can reach out to the Zoom rep in Cape Cod and we decide. It's not my, I'm not saying it can't be done, but we can.
I don't think we have many meetings that overlap.
No.
So it would-
But it's the user account, right? Like you
Yep.
can't use one account for everybody.
Okay.
That's against the security violation, right? From a technology perspective. So you'd have to have a one-to-one. So the chair of each
Mhm.
board, I think that would be appropriate. And but again, do you want the other members to have access? I don't know.
Okay.
You guys have to discuss that, but comes down to cost. But yeah. Any other questions?
Bill, question?
No,
You're all set?
no,
Okay.
so I noticed that on the website, the town website, there are 5 regular meetings that don't have minutes. It's January 23rd, March 20th, April 18th, May 1st. I'll say that again.
Yeah.
January 23rd, March 20th, April 18th, May 1, which may have actually taken place on the 2nd.
Okay.
And then May 16th.
Okay.
So this is a public records request, and I'm requesting that they be put onto the town website.
Okay.
Thank you.
About the town website, the Facebook button doesn't work. It's on there, because we're gonna have to add a YouTube button too, eventually, if you do YouTube.
I don't know that it's ever worked, honestly.
It's on there, so I'm just.
I know the Board of Health one does.
Okay, all right. But the one right at the top of the landing page, so.
Anyone else for public session? Barbara?
I'm the chair of the COA and we have a pleasant concern. And that's that with the building usage, we have outgrown, or we are rapidly outgrowing this room for Zumba. And Tim has been nice enough to offer us a day to do functional fitness. Where it's a concern going forward as to where, if we're trying very hard to get as many people involved in the senior center as possible. If we can't offer them a space that we can do our functions, then it's kind of a defeated purpose. We increased our signage with our little pop-up sign for outside and flags when we're open. But it is a concern going forward. We're seeking out alternative settings for Zumba and functional fitness as we speak, but we don't have many options. That's all, just going forward.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just want
Jim?
to thank both the finance committee members and the board and everyone for the support with the fire truck. It was overwhelming support, which was nice to see from the town. And we're moving forward with that process and I'll keep the board posted as we go.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, anybody else? Everyone else is all set? Okay, thank you. Next on our agenda is the special state primary warrant that we're going to need to sign. We need to vote on it, we need to sign it, and we have a constable present who will sign it and post for us. To either the constables of the town of Oakham and the county of Worcester, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of said town, qualified to vote in elections and in town affairs, to meet at the town hall in said town on Tuesday, the 10th of October, 2023, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the following purpose: to cast their votes in the special state primary for the candidates of political parties for the following office: Senator in General Court for the Worcester and Hampshire District. And you are directed to serve this warrant by posting up attested copies thereof at the Oakham Town Hall and official town website in said town 7 days at least before the time of said voting. Hereof fail not, and make due return of this warrant with your doings thereon to the town clerk at the time and place of voting as foresaid. Given under our hands this 18th day of September, 2023. I'll entertain a motion to post this warrant.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Too fast.
You were a teacher, I wasn't.
I use every bus. Okay, Denise? Sign and then date, September 18th. I know. You know where the key is to get?
Yes, yep, now I
It's in
remember.
the selectmen box.
Yep, it's been a little while, but yeah. Denise, Chris is here, so she can sign them or do whatever she needs to do.
Does she
Hmm?
Chris, for Chris, she's here.
I can post one and then
Did you see that?
We're going to keep one for us anyway, and then the town clerk can get the rest of them.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Very good. Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
Quabbin Regional School District intermunicipal agreement. And for the HVAC chiller project, impossible vote and sign. And we have Carol Duval here.
Good evening. I'm here for the superintendent because tonight. We're there for 6:30. So we were asked in one of the school committee meetings if we would make an adjustment to our regional agreement, which of course we cannot do. So bond council has drafted an IMA, which is an intermunicipal agreement that would state that instead of following the regional agreement language, when it comes to borrowing and how the costs of that borrowing are apportioned to school, to towns each year, that the apportionment percentage would be based on this year's enrollment only. But the regional agreement says if you have a 20-year bond that you're paying off, each year, the principal and interest amount would change based on the number of students, resident students that you have, either in the district or at the regional middle high school, which this project is for. So that's what we're bringing to you tonight. I believe it was sent to you last week by Jessica Bennett so that you can review the language, and you have a sheet that we'd like you to sign, but I also brought us a second if you need that.
Okay, thank you.
The school committee signed at their meeting last Thursday. The superintendent is going around to, like I said, Hubbardston tonight and the other 3 towns to get their signatures as well. We need to have unanimous vote on this or the IMA will not go into effect.
Okay. What would you like to do with
So,
this?
I have a concern at what I think is an editorial comment, in this agreement. Letter I, it says, whereas town of Hubbardston officials have expressed concerns that the towns of New Braintree and Oakham, by paying in advance, would not be assessed the increases or decreases to the prepayment amount if their resident enrollment fluctuates over the term of the borrowing. You then go on to say that this will be effective as of October 1st, 2022. But what does it matter what Hubbardston thinks?
The regional agreement sets the terms by which towns repay a debt. The town of Hubbardston was at a meeting back in August, and they brought that concern. And when you say you, I did not write that.
Right.
Bond counsel wrote that, so an attorney wrote that. That is the reason for this IMA. So you need to give a reason as to why you're not going to follow your, and that was the reason, plain and simple how they stated it. That's the reason for this document to supersede it. I don't know if anybody from Oakham attended that meeting.
I did.
The October 1st, 2022, each year on October 1st, the official count student enrollment is given to this Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And that is by which how the budget is apportioned, and in our case, debt as well is apportioned to member towns. So that is last October, that apportionment of enrollment is used to apportion this year's budget.
You feel comfortable signing it tonight or wait for a 3-member board to be here?
I think it should be a 3-member board.
I would prefer that also. I would like to give our chairman a chance to get here before this meeting is over so that he can also add his signature to this so that we can have all 3 of us agreeing to it. We're hoping he'll be here before the end of the meeting.
Who's that?
John Hapikoski?
Would you like me to stay until he arrives so that we can use further clarification?
I hate to have you waste your time, but I can't guarantee when he'll be here or if he'll be here before we finish our agenda.
And when does this need to be approved by?
We're hoping we can do it in the next few weeks because the project is supposed to start in the middle of October.
I know it's hot in the building now. It probably won't be in October, but
The
Unfortunately, there was a part of the system, which was a transformer that was on back order. It's due in sometime in the middle of October. And we would need to borrow so that we could pay the bills.
Okay. All right, as soon as he gets here, we will sign it. If not, we'll have to,
If not, the next meeting would be,
Hmm?
If not, the next meeting would be October 2nd, the next
our
regular
next meeting would be October 2nd. If the other part is not coming until the middle of October, we should have it in plenty of time for you to move forward with it.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, very good. Thank you.
Want me to wait for him until he does come? Or
I will leave that up to your discretion.
how many people have things on the agenda?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more items to go on the agenda. Okay. The next part on the agenda is the property update for the house at the center of town. There's been a lot of interest in that particular piece of property. And we have several pages of explaining how it's going and where it stands right now. The top one is the last one that we received an email from Robert Lanciani, our building inspector, which he informs us that Herb Seymour is trying to buy this property. There are some lingering issues to probate to allow for the sale. He contacted me yesterday to advise that the closing has been pushed out to this week or beyond. As soon as he takes possession, he will be in to obtain a permit, thank you, to demolish the barn. He has also asked if I will view the insides of the house as soon as he has legal possession of the property. Hopefully, this will happen shortly, and we can get the property repaired and back into use. Signed, Robert Lanciani. And that is the latest that we have on the information of that property.
Property, is it talking the post office?
Package store,
Okay.
yes.
They
And
haven't reached
that,
out to me yet and they can't sell without
'Cause you-
me too. And I haven't heard anything from them yet.
There's been no Title V.
there's been nothing as far as I know. Because probate hasn't done anything. It's still in the courts.
And the Board of Health is meeting on Wednesday to address, potentially take action on it.
Okay, good, good. Okay, road acceptance update, Skyline Drive, Old Schoolhouse Road. I know I was asked during the election day what was happening there, what have we heard from our lawyers, what the holdup was. And then it was followed through by a slight threat that if something isn't done for those roads, that they're going to get together and they're not going to pay their taxes. And that usually has to do with, having to do with the plowing in the winter.
My notes.
Oh, okay, fine. And that's where we stand right now. As far as I know, our town lawyers unfortunately have not been forthcoming to the planning board.
Phil and I are here to talk about.
Oh, very good. Okay, thank you.
So they might want to bring people up to date.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Since we heard nothing yet from either Sharon Everett or Lauren.
Goldberg.
let's see,
Goldberg.
Goldberg, we contacted another person at KP that we previously contacted maybe a year ago about this issue. Responded right away and sent him an email last night. He responded first thing this morning to say he's going to contact and talk to Everett and Goldberg and see if he can come back with an answer. And based on what he's done in the past, I expect that we'll be here, I'll hear back from him perhaps as soon as tomorrow.
Town council service.
Is it in the hands of our town council or Mr. Como's council?
Town council.
Town council.
Okay, because we had heard at one time that our town council hadn't heard from their town council and nothing was going back and forth for a while.
Yes, that's what's gone back and forth, and that's why, I think last week I contacted Sharon Everett. That's what was going on, no response. Then I sent that same email, attention Lauren Goldberg, no response. And so last night I sent it, same thread to, John Murray to see if he can do anything. So, based on what he did in the past, we have fingers crossed that he'll respond as soon as tomorrow.
Okay, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed then for that and hope it comes in before it snows.
Well, I'm running out of time because
Yes,
the town just can't plow the road. I was talking to Don Apikowski a little bit about it. It's not that simple.
right,
We can't go and just accept there's a legal process.
right, it is.
And I think Phil's question to council would be, it's probably a lot easier to do eminent domain and take it. Jack Amadeo doesn't want to spend $3,000 or $4,000 to incorporate his town, his company for one day, just for the sake of paperwork that the bank screwed up.
He said his lawyer had already sent in paperwork for him that was signed. But it's
But it's a
Mr.
question.
Como, I was questioning for his lawyer, but if they've done what they should do, then definitely it's K and P that hasn't.
But it's an expensive process and then to incorporate again. Just
Right, it
a
is,
free thing to do. And
it is.
why would he want to do that, you know?
Well, if he wants the roads to be taken by the town, I guess that would be the requirement. I mean,
You know,
It might be.
that's separate.
okay, because then,
It's a separate concept, eminent domain.
no, I'm not saying eminent domain. But if the roads were to be taken on the June 26th minutes, it talks about what has to be done. Revive the Ocam sand and gravel. Mr. Amadeo will convey all
Yeah.
rights.
Right.
Has that been done?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Okay,
No,
so.
he doesn't
what-
want to do
And
that.
then obtain deeds for 3 to 4 abutters conveying their interest in the roads. And then once that happens, town meeting accepts Longview Estates. So
Mhm.
it sounds like there's a process
Yes.
that
is.
should be taken
It's
without
right in 48.
bypassing.
There is a process,
Yeah.
but town council hasn't been
They haven't
helpful at all.
played their part in the process,
I mean,
unfortunately.
where did these guidelines come from then? If it said this is what needs to
Town
happen?
council.
Town council.
That's the town council.
Okay.
That was from Shervin.
We're trying to follow
Right.
their direction to the town, as what steps we should be taking.
And it looks like we gave
And we
that
did.
information to the parties for them to take action.
Yeah,
And we can't do anything. It's not our fault for them to threaten not to pay taxes. They have a process to go through for the town to adopt.
but they feel that they have put in the effort, they have put in the time, they hired their lawyers. And they said they heard that it was KP that's not going through. They said that's what they keep hearing from the planning board.
Right.
So they asked me to-
The town's fault, obviously, but
Right.
they are the higher paid taxes in town and they feel they have the right to have plowed roads.
Yes,
So that's a direct problem, but it kind of is in a way, you know, we don't want to have that kind of situation.
no, we don't, definitely not. So hopefully we'll hear from town council very, very, very shortly and get a move on this then. Okay, very good. Thank you for the update.
They accept that road, is there an inspection that's gonna be done?
Oh, yes,
Because there are damages on that road
yes.
that we should know.
As soon as the selectmen receive the application to accept the road, comes to the planning board, and we have, I think, 45 days to take care of an inspection and put our report back to the selectmen. Yes, we recommend it with whatever conditions. So that you're definitely involved.
But not to really muddy the waters, but they took our right away and our dry hydrant and just put driveway right to it. We can't get to our water hole down there anymore.
Yes.
So we were basically told, too bad, tough luck.
Yeah, well, we've been working on that too.
Oh, that's gonna be
Part of
addressed.
the easement process, if we can get that resolved between town council and Homo's attorney. Part of that process will be to establish where the easement is and how it would be owned by the town in the process of accepting the road. And then the town has the right, regardless of what the property owner thinks, the town has the right to reinforce the easement which is on the other property, the other lot, and make that firm enough for a fire truck to get down to the dry hydrant.
That property's also changed hands since you and I talked. There's another guy living in there.
Yes, yeah, that,
Maybe more
that's sold.
receptive than the previous guy.
Yeah.
I believe there's a drainage pipe under that also.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
There is, yes.
Gotta be open to get it.
yeah.
And the beavers do block it off, but
So you have to drive down there.
Okay, any other comment on that? issue? Okay. We have a policy on remote access for us to look at, remote meeting participation. What would the board like to do with that?
So I have several questions
Mhm.
on it. Is this come from a template from the state? How did we get this?
Don provided this to me.
Okay. So I am curious where it came from. And there are just some typographical issues that I noticed on it. It's so I guess overreaching all of these individual questions, I think that in my opinion, we should not vote on any policies unless they've been distributed to the affected parties. So this particular policy sets expectations on the select board, the finance committee, and the planning board. I think it's only fair that this before it's being voted on, that we allow the stakeholders who have a part in this to review it and offer input before a policy is created. I think it's only fair. And it does say, and any other boards may choose to offer remote participation. I don't think it would be difficult to send this through the email system to all of the departments and boards.
Were any other boards issued this statement?
No.
No, okay. Would you like to make a motion to that effect?
Yes, I
please?
would like to make a motion that this be distributed to all boards and committees. And that
Whether mentioned or not?
whether mentioned or not.
Okay,
And that they have an opportunity to provide feedback, and on our next scheduled meeting, we review that and take further action.
so that would be for October 2nd. Okay. Okay, next on, excuse me, next on our list of agenda is the ARPA funds, future projects discussions. And we have a list so far for ARPA that so far, with all, everything we have purchased or used for ARPA was $210,312.86 up till this date. There are other requests that have been on hold, simply because in some cases anyway, we have not gotten exact figures or exact estimates that we would need to say, okay, this has been earmarked, and then put it onto this. Some of our requests so far that have been asked for is painting the town hall with Mr. Leacock, and his estimate, we are still kind of second guessing that, is going to be somewhere around $20,000. That's to do the front of the town hall and to do alongside this wall, because last year he did the side with the senior center. So that would be something that we would be interested in. For our cable and internet, we still owe them a remaining $96,500. For Zoom licenses, we talked about these at the last meeting, $2,317.90. Yep, right, yeah.
And then the rest of the numbers are.
Which
estimates.
I do believe also is an annual fee on that. So this year, we'd be able to take it out of ARPA, but in other years, we would not. That is something we're going to have to accrue and put into our budget. Okay, senior center door, we are looking at getting a new door, or at least repairing the door into the entryway of the senior center. It is very rusted down in the bottom corner. It's rusted all the way through, which was brought to my attention by a former select person. And he says if it gets flooded out there, it will come through in. So we have somebody in line who said in about another week, he's going to be able to do that door for us. We're figuring a cost, we put down an estimate of $2,000. It is a metal door. The green hollow arch, The people were going to come to talk to you about that tonight. As everyone knows, that arch came down during a lot of rain and the earth just kind of let it go. And it actually ended up being rotted all the way through, whether it was the top or whether it was the legs coming down. And just before today, well, actually it was this morning, they left me a voicemail when I got home this afternoon. They wanted to have, of course, 3 estimates for doing that. They had one, and that looked like it was going to be pretty firm, and that 2 other people had said, no, they didn't think they were interested in doing it. It takes something a little special to make this arch. And then somebody else called this morning and said, yeah, he thinks he might be interested, thinks he can do it, but he hasn't written up an estimate yet. So we're going to wait for that one to come before they present it out to the Board of Selectmen. The library well needs to be deepened. And we're looking at somewhere around $6,000 to work on the well and so that they have better water over there. As they're fixing the well, the library is worried that it might damage the sidewalk. So would we be able to use those funds to fix the sidewalk after the well has been worked on? There's the library lift. We don't have prices yet or estimates on that one yet. And library windows that need to be repaired. And one of the biggest ones too for the library is their roof. It's a slate roof. You need to find somebody that is their specialty, and it's very difficult and it's very expensive. School repairs. There are many school repairs that need to be done, and we need to start working on that. We did a site visit last year, and we need to really get going on that this year. Fire and police radios. We were hoping maybe a grant will cover some of those radios. We're not sure yet whether we've been approved for the grant for those radios. They are expensive. I believe it's something like $50,000 for radio.
Oh, per
30.
handheld radio is about 8. And per
Okay.
digital radio is about 9.
Okay, good.
Per radio.
But we need one for all, yes. And which adds up so far, as we know right now, to a total of $186,648.66. That's all that we have that are right now being earmarked for ARPA money.
What's remaining?
As soon as we get their estimates. We can't put it in if we don't know for sure. Something else may take a place of something that's in here that the money comes.
We don't have, we've already spent X amount of dollars.
No,
Yeah,
that was yeah. We had already spent $333,466 is the balance.
What's the balance?
We have remaining,
We have remaining $186,648.66.
and we have until December 31st of 2024 to earmark.
Have them all earmarked and have it set that this is what they're going to be spent on. And then we have until the middle, I think, of 25 to actually spend it and
26.
work on it and get it going. Yes.
So one of the things that I would like to ask is that all boards and committees be given this information and have an opportunity to offer input on appropriate ARPA expenditures. I believe, I can say that I know the Board of Health was never part of any of these conversations, and I think it would be good to allow all boards and committees and the residents of the town to see what has been spent and what's proposed and offer input, knowing that we have until December 31st of 2024. There's no rush necessarily to have to get everything spent right now. We post this on the website. I noticed there's on the Board of Selectmen, it has the annual reports. If we would post the expenditures as well as the planned, I think that would be good for the townspeople to be able to see. And then if they have ideas on how we could spend the rest of it, that would help the board best to be able to utilize it.
Okay. We can get it up and running, right?
I think first you kind of need to explain to people, you know, to the residents what the ARPA money was.
I think a lot of
What
people have
it's
no idea.
for.
Yeah, it's very specific.
Infrastructure.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as future needs, we've accomplished one. We're working on the other one, and it sounds like it might be coming pretty soon. We hope that would be Longview Estates roads. Are they going to be ready to plow? So we took care of that need. Fire truck was already voted on. We have school repairs. There are 5 areas of the school that need to be repaired. I would like to suggest that we have the maintenance facilitator for the Quabbin Regional School District to come and meet with us, and we need to start working on this. It's been a year already, and which area do we want to start with, and which area do we want to end with, and work in between as to what can be done. The Town Hall Planning Committee, I would like to meet with them to come up with their final decision and how they would like to move forward with their plans. They do have some plans that they've come up with, but there's more than one. So eventually it's going to be up to the town to vote and decide which way that the town wants to go. And it's going to cost money in any way that we go. Highway vehicles, now that Kevin is here tonight, Kevin, I was going to suggest that we meet with the highway department and say, I hear anyway that there are some of your vehicles that are going to need to be replaced next year, hopefully, not right now. Yeah. And those vehicles that need to be replaced, are they mainly plows or are they
Frontline equipment.
frontline equipment? But, okay, you consider just plows as frontline
No,
equipment?
dump trucks, I mean,
There are a lot more, yeah, okay. How many plows do you think we're going to need or frontline equipment?
Well, our oldest truck right now is a 96. So
That's the oldest?
that's the oldest.
Okay,
How many miles does it have?
About 100,000.
and what is it?
1996 International.
International? Is it a plow? Okay. You would, just a second. That would be one of the first ones and that you would have in mind that would be the one that would need to be replaced first.
Oldest.
Approximate cost?
Probably 250,000, it's estimated.
Anything wrong with the old?
No, it's just the age.
Brought it up, just,
Yeah, it's seen better days. It's 1996.
so it's not an immediate danger to go down. You can get a year or 2 out if you have to.
Shoot, Tom, it's a 96 with 100,000 miles on it.
How many repairs have it already had?
You know, you're asking me questions. That's why I know you're gonna ask me. I brought some
Well,
information.
that's why I was going to suggest we meet with you at another time, but since you were sitting there, I just thought I'd get as much that I could get out of you. Okay, but I just wanted to check that it was a plow that we're probably going to be looking at replacing next.
It's a truck. It's not it's not a plow.
Yeah, yes, okay, very good, thank you. I would like to suggest that we possibly meet with the trustees of the library to go, since there seems to be a lot at the library that needs to be done, to go through them with the trustees because they are in charge of the library and anything that takes place in that library and see what they would like to perhaps put in order of preference, which would be fine. And then, of course, we always have the school budget, but that's not until next April. We don't have too much to do with that yet. Okay, but that's everything that I had on my list of what's coming, how much we've spent, how much we've kind of got earmarked for it. So I think we should start thinking of what do we want to attack first, but after we listen to all the input from all the other departments that have something that needs to be replaced that I may have not taken into account here.
The only ace I have in the whole Lucy is we can use chapter 90 funds for equipment.
Okay. So we could actually use $250,000 for,
Can't put a plow on it. I can't put a sander in it. In my truck.
okay, that's good to know. So how much would the truck just be without a plow attached to it?
Well, you'll probably do 200,000.
Okay,
And you'll put sand
the rest would
up.
be, yeah,
I got a combination body, which is a sand and out body, which we have on already.
okay,
Any
Yeah.
controls, plow, has to be bought from town funds.
okay. Yeah, but that makes it, gives it a little breathing space at least by doing that. Yeah. Okay, no, that sounds good. And we're also going to have to start looking at articles for the special town meeting, because we're going to be in October at our next meeting, and that's when we have to really start thinking about the articles, because we're hoping for a special town meeting early November. I'm just throwing that out because it might not be until later November as to how we go through these. Okay. And that fills up all of our,
The records are.
oh, yes, thank you very much. We need to appoint record officers for all of our departments of police, fire, highway, library, and board of selectmen. These officers are responsible, so when they get a request for public information, that this officer would be the person responsible to gaining that information and distributing it to the person who requests it within the 10 days. That's allowed by law. Or at least get a response to that person within the 10 days. Fire department, since you're sitting here, Tim, you're going to take that on? Highway department, okay, we have Kevin. Library, I don't, since there's nobody from the library here, I would have to write to them and say, who would they want to choose?
It
I would
would probably
only-
be Samantha, but.
It would probably be Samantha,
I would
but
think they would probably
I-
discuss it in their own meeting first.
Trustee.
Yeah.
And then come back to the board and
Yeah.
say, yeah.
but their own meeting is run by the trustees.
Right.
I would almost say it should go to a trustee rather than the librarian,
Let them decide.
because the trustees should be the ones writing up their minutes and then, not Sam.
It's just that would they have, I mean, they don't meet every 10 days. So if they had a request,
Well, they would have to research
but it
and
would
come up
probably be
with it.
Sam researching.
Yeah. They
But
could-
does she actually have a hold of all the minutes and all the
Oh,
paperwork?
I see. So it's the minutes of their meetings.
Yeah,
Right, any public
yeah.
records.
That's why I thought it should come
Yeah.
from one of the
Because the librarian
trustees.
wouldn't have they wouldn't have public meeting minutes. It's just,
I wouldn't think so,
Yeah.
unless she keeps them on hand or they file them at the library instead of at somebody's home.
sure,
That would be my thought.
trustees.
Board of Selectmen. We have Police Department. I'm not sure whether the chief would want to designate an officer or his admin. It could be one or the other. So we would have to check with him. I thought he was coming, but I guess not. So
How about,
I'll check with him on that.
Assessors, Board of Health, Conservation Commission. Why are they not listed? Do we know where this came from?
Nope, this was a request that was given to me by the chairman to put on the agenda, and as it was given to me is how I put it on.
Okay. So I guess my question is, what about the other committees? and
Yeah,
boards?
that's true, because if I'm asked for something from conservation, I have to have it ready for them.
Yeah, so right now, the clerk receives requests for the Board of Health and I provide them to the clerk. So I guess it's the clerk unless otherwise specified.
Right. Okay.
Should we put this on an upcoming agenda again, just to make sure, like
Yes.
all the big and small committees
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
involved?
yeah.
And that way it gives time for everyone to have a designee
Mhm.
person, and it's not, well, maybe,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
figuring out who it would be.
I'd like to ask a question on that.
Yes.
because all the boards and all the committees have to turn in their minutes. Okay, the officer in the past
True.
has always been the town clerk.
Yes. For everything that's turned into her.
Well, she's supposed to have copies of all the minutes.
Right. But they could ask for things that aren't minutes that aren't in her book.
I can give you an example. So we get these businesses that install a new doodad for your septic. So their way of trying to fish for business is they want to know how many people have this particular type of tight tank. And we're required to tell them 0 or whatever, and they can ask, well, what are those addresses? So they can make public requests for that sort of information, which we wouldn't have in minutes.
I'm just saying, because of the legal issues involved, you're spreading this
Yeah,
responsibility way out, okay? And you're gonna lose control of it. I think if you look in the past, it's always been the town clerk or the administrative assistant,
Yes,
all right?
yeah, it has, you're right.
And you would be notified right away of anything like that. You don't want to be notified after something occurs beyond the 10-day period. You're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah,
I think you might want to research what's been done in the past few years, because control is very critical on this.
because I know for conservation, she doesn't hold all my information that people might go looking for, and I would have to provide it for them.
and because we
But the
have,
minutes, yes, she would have the minutes.
such a part-time town clerk, it really does eat away at the 10 days. If she's off on a Friday and because I mean, I know that she was off on a Friday and a Monday. A lot of time has gone by since she was
You know,
last
every
here.
single board and committee is part of it too, all right?
Yeah,
I'm just bringing it up, because you
Yeah,
have a
no,
10-day
no.
window to work on this.
Yeah,
I'm curious as to why it's on the
Keep
agenda.
Control within the town hall is pretty critical.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't put it
especially
on.
it's, you know, I can tell you from a business perspective, when we find out people are asking for medical records, we go, why do they want those? Our
Mhm.
legal department reviews it. We still will meet the requirement, but
Because of HIPAA requirements, you don't give them out anyways.
if they're qualified to receive them, you still want to have an idea that someone has requested it. So if it's going out through 8 different people, how is that funneling back to let somebody know? "Oops,
Right.
there might be something going on here just to be aware of. So
Right.
it is, I think we should definitely review it at the next meeting when Dawn is here.
Okay.
Not to muddy the waters, but should it be all requests, no matter what, go to the town clerk?
Mhm.
And then we have,
Sure it
she knows,
was.
okay, if it's a fire request, you go to.
That's what-
Kyle.
And
A
yeah,
Police request, you go that.
Yeah.
Conservation.
And
That might be a
I
cleaner way.
I did some research on other towns on this, I Googled public records access officers.
mhm,
And there are actual policies that many towns have on this, which specifies how it all works. So it might be worthy of a policy at the same time, since I'm guessing we don't have a policy for that.
They're probably towns with full-time people, so, you know.
Paxton was.
Yeah.
They
Was
have
the town.
full-time employees.
Yeah. okay. Very good. For the board, any new business?
Yes, Barbara is here. So whereas September is Senior Center Month, we would like to recognize the Ocam Senior Center. Whereas Ocam Senior Center plays a vital role in our community, providing valuable services and support to our senior residents, and whereas the Ocam Senior Center promotes social interaction, nutrition, health, and wellness, and lifelong learning opportunities for our senior citizens. And whereas it is essential to recognize the contributions and achievements of our senior population, their coordinator, volunteers, and now therefore, we, the Ocam Board of Selectmen, recognize Senior Center Month in the town of Ocam and encourage all residents to celebrate and support the Ocam Senior Center that enriches the lives of our senior citizens. Happy Senior Center.
And now if they could find you more space, I know, we would be all set.
So other new business that I have, I noticed that the treasurer is out this week. I
Yes.
wonder if we could put an announcement on the Facebook page so that if people are coming in during those days, they may not look I didn't know that her page was actually updated, but it does say that she's off, but it might just help people who might come in to say she's out for the week.
Okay.
And then understanding that agendas are driven by the chair, just some items that I would recommend be placed on future agendas. The voluntary pledge of allegiance at the beginning of meetings. Looking at online applications, permits, including the options of online payments. The topic of policies, new and existing, a work meetings policy, a finance policy, reviewing our HR policies, our website and social media policies. I think we need to look at the administrative assistant job description and the workload that seems to be continuously increasing. Board, committee, elected, appointed, future collaboration. And I kind of talked about that already, that when there are policies, things that impact boards and committees, that we try to reach out to them and engage them in part of the conversation. Review the individual member roles of the Board of Selectmen as it relates to other departments and boards, so that departments and boards and members of the Board of Selectmen understand what's within their scope and not within their scope. A consideration of whether or not the informational packets that I received, my first one on Friday, that those be posted online. I think when we have public comment, most people have no idea what the details of these agenda items are. And so if they had the opportunity to see what we saw, which is public record, they may very well have input on what might be discussed by the board. ARPA funds, I mentioned that I think having community and board committee engagement and transparency, knowing that it doesn't need to be determined as to what we would like to spend until December of 2024. The budget process, all boards and committees be engaged. Everyone that submits a budget should receive a feedback on it. I can say that not all boards in the past have. And I would like to see a review of the location of the primary location of agendas. And these would be my recommendations for a future agenda.
Okay,
Obviously, the other two members would have input. These are your suggestions. May not be theirs, right?
Right.
Every member is allowed to make recommendations.
yeah,
But there needs to be input from the other two selectmen.
yeah,
All votes are a three-person board.
yeah.
Right.
Because he had his list.
Yep.
I have this list that I made up, so sooner or later, they're all going to get on there. They're all going to get addressed. Anything else that we have forgotten that we should do?
Old business.
Old business? No, no more old business?
Oh, I have some old business. This was all new.
We need an American flag.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. We sat and looked at that all day on election day. It's tattered.
The one out there. Oh, I have a whole bunch.
Oh, good.
Hold on. I have a
I
few
thought
that,
we-
Tattered.
that actually, Mike Brunel has always, since I've been on board, has always been the one that changes it for me anytime I've
Yeah.
asked him to. So I do have some. If I don't, I will definitely order it on Amazon because that's where I always order it. But he always puts the stormed up one. So I
There's like 15 holes.
will reach out to Mr. Brunel and see if he would be able to assist with that.
Flag lit.
Yes.
Under old business, if I may, I just wanted to inform the board that at my annual review, which is new information to you, one of the suggestions for my review was to do procurement classes, as we do not have a procurement officer. So I kept an eye on the attorney general's office or the Inspector General's office, and they offered a pilot program for one free designee for each town. So we were able to capitalize on that and take these classes free of cost to the town. It's a 3-step process, and the classes range anywhere from like 600 to close to 1,000. And then you take a test for each link, and then you take a big one. So I just want to inform the board that the reason I was not in last week was because I was taking my first round of classes. And even though they were from home and on a Blackboard, I didn't realize how they would send random polls to check to make sure that you were there. And it would be like now, and then in 10 minutes, they would do it again just to see. And then in an hour, they would do it again. It was very interesting, a lot of information. And then at the end of that, you take a test. They give you the weekend to take the test, but once you start the test, you have to complete it through. And I passed my test, thank goodness. So 1 down, 2 to go, and then the big test. So just wanted to inform you guys of that.
Good job.
Oh, thanks, Kevin.
You scored very well on that. I just had to say that.
Like that. And then I also wanted to inform the board that I will be sending out an email to all the departments and the committees in regards to their annual town reports for the upcoming year. I was talking to Aaron earlier, and since I've been here, this is going to be book number 3. The first one, we requested it early on. Then the second one, which was last year, we requested it for maybe like early in the new upcoming year. So I'm trying to figure out which one is best, obviously once budget season starts, not to overwhelm. So we're going to go back to, I'm going to submit the request this week and have, give them about 2 months and have them return it hopefully by December 1st, just in time to then start budget season. So they don't have to worry about this. And it's still kind of fresh in their mind, the end of fiscal year 23.
I just always have so much fun writing up those reports as I keep getting the years mixed up. With FY '23,
Oh,
FY
yeah.
'24, FY '22. But that's good. They really should be done as soon as possible because mixing them in with the budget season is very, very difficult.
And also, I think that, like you said, policies on agendas and minutes. And I also would like to then maybe at that next meeting address the board in regards to work sessions. When is it public comment and when is it not? So I just want to make sure that if I'm doing something that maybe isn't properly, that I'm notified of it. But like I said, I just wanted to address the board and see how they want to go about it. I know, for example, with our last work meeting that the board had just had on Friday, that came about as it was sent an email to me asking that they got a new, or stating that they had a new administrator, and they didn't request a meeting in a public forum. They just said, you know, we just want a meeting to just introduce Josh Rickman and maybe just to get a little feedback on the town. And they gave a range of hours, and typically they were all mornings. So therefore, but you know, if it's more than one selectman, it instantly becomes a quorum and it has to be posted as a public meeting. So that's why it landed like that. If the board wants to address it differently, that's how I've done it since I've been here. I just kind of followed suit. But I just wanted to explain that that's where that came from. So yeah, that's it. Just if there's any changes that they want to do in regards to work sessions, then all they need, you know, all any of you would need to do is let me know and we'll make those changes. But
Yeah, I just, as far as work meetings, I work 8 to 4:30, and so it's, if the board wants 3 people to be involved in a work meeting, it's not as easy for me.
right, and
You
totally,
said Fridays though. were
Friday
okay
would
for
be
you.
the easiest afternoon.
yeah,
Afternoon.
right. And again, only in those circumstances, everybody's schedule is different. If one board member, then it would only have to be one board member because then to not be able to post it. So it's
Right.
just tricky. And that's where it becomes no public because the way they stated it was, he just wants to come and introduce himself to the board, just informative to get a little information, a little background. And that's how the no public comment came about and as a work session because it was during his business hours works.
Yeah.
You know, they even suggested maybe, you know, a phone call, but I know that becomes tricky too if it's still 2 selectmen, then we have to cram in the office and, you know, if someone wants to walk in. So
Yeah,
Again.
there was no votes in that meeting and so a lot of towns have policies on work meetings.
Yeah.
One of the stipulations is that there are no votes at it. And so that's kind of why I put that on the agenda, because I personally agree that there should be no votes at a work meeting when the public doesn't have an opportunity to participate.
Right.
But again, that's for a future.
Yep. I just wanted to just bring that up. And like I said, once you guys decide how you want to move forward.
And I just had one old business item. Driving up and down Maple Street or New Braintree and seeing that speed thing flash at me, it occurred to me that what is the speed limit? And I was reading through all the minutes in preparation for the last year for tonight. And I know it was on the agenda. It was on the minutes that someone asked about whether or not a sign could be put there. And I'm wondering if there's any update on that.
Oh, yeah, that meeting. Sue.
Up to Fred.
Oh, was it?
I believe, wasn't it?
That request was put in by Susan. I wasn't here at that meeting when the conversation happened, so.
She was asking for about the center of town, but he's saying New
Right as you
Braintree
come,
Road.
right as you come into the historic district where
Right.
that flashing light is.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no, it doesn't say that the speed limit drops to, I don't know what, I think it's less than 20. Because it always flashes at me and I'm going 25, so clearly it's not 25.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's not posted.
It's 40. I mean, every road in town is 40.
Yeah,
There's no-
Except for it's posted at 35, yeah.
There's no thickly settled areas in town.
but it'll tell you
Well,
you're
Hunt
going
Road
too
is
fast at
35.
25.
Hunt Road
Hunt
is
Road is 35.
legally,
Barry Road is 35.
it's not legally.
Posted.
Well, it's
Posted.
posted.
So with Brookfield, it's also
North Brookfield Road is posted in certain sections. Yes, yes.
from about Spencer Road up. And then
Past-
it goes by us and then it goes
Right.
down to 25.
Then it goes again.
Before you get to 120.
Yeah.
You can put up all the speed limit signs.
Yeah.
They're not a legal speed limit sign, it's not.
You get 40, the whole town is 40.
And the unposted road is 40.
I mean, it certainly would be fast going 40 down Maple Street, but I mean, I think whoever, I'm guessing the police department owns that speed thing, but it's telling people you're going too fast at 25. So I think that should be followed on the next agenda because that's an old item that was requested and then clearly there's nothing there yet.
Susan requested pedestrian signs also with that.
Oh, crosswalk, she wanted,
Oh, she not get a crosswalk.
yeah, she,
Yeah, they,
Pedestrian.
he
signs.
voted no on crosswalks.
I just got them delivered today, so I had a chance to put them up. There's one going on this end by
Yeah.
the gazebo somewhere and at the top of the hill by the mailboxes.
and it also said that she didn't believe there was any parking there. There's no parking even where someone was parked for the election?
Where the town common is?
Yeah,
You can get.
that's what I thought, but in the minutes it said that there's no, okay,
That,
okay.
At that meeting, it was stated that those two, it was left like that because of people unloading onto the common for different events, but technically there really isn't any parking there.
Okay, so I guess no one would know that, because I park there when I go into the library, so it doesn't say no parking, loading only or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. No, I know it's not said. And I saw people parked there
Yeah,
during
yeah,
election.
yeah.
Yeah, during election day, there were people
It
there.
was the chief.
Yeah, it was the chief, and then it was Mr. Durant,
Oh, Campanella, his father-in-law,
his father-in-law,
yeah,
but it was Mr. Durant's sign.
yep, yep.
Okay. Anything else?
No,
Anything else for you?
No, Don texted. I think he's obviously not going to make it.
I guess not. I'm sorry, Cheryl, but he is not here. We will get them signed into you
October 2nd.
October 2nd. Okay, sorry it made you wait so much, but we were hoping that he was going to make it.
unless it's 35 and then it might not even be 35.
Yeah.
I take it to court and went.
Okay, very good. Everybody, thank you so much for coming. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that was 7:09.
Very good. Okay, these are yours.
Do you have to shut that off now?
Yeah. With me, I don't know.
Unplug it.
Wait a minute, I don't want to do it because I want to be able to see how to like